We are only 2 weeks into 2025, and we are already getting a massive pay-per-view. UFC 311 is this weekend, and it is huge. We have 2 title fights, a bunch of really good matchups, and a lot of fights that will determine rankings in multiple divisions. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC 311 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before I do that, let me show you how you can bet on me to become the UFC heavyweight champion. Interestingly enough, at the end of the year, sportsbooks put out all sorts of different prop bets. Some of those prop bets are, who do you think will be the UFC champion at the end of 2025? And they do it for all weight classes. Sometimes you can do a write-in. You can reach out and you can say, hey, what about this fighter? And somebody did that. For the heavyweight division, they said, what about Angelo Bodetti? And BetOnline said, yeah, absolutely. We'll throw him in the mix. And they capped me at plus 8,000. So plus 8,000 odds to become the UFC heavyweight champion at the end of 2025. And money came in on the big boy. So they locked me. This graphic is a lock. Meaning, so much money came in. The line was moving. They said, we are no longer accepting bets on this prop. Then they let the dust settle. They unlocked it. I came back at plus 7,500, which is better odds than Tai Tuivasa. So at the end of the day, if you went to BetOnline, you could have bet on me to become the UFC heavyweight champion at the end of 2025. Obviously, the likelihood of that is almost zero, but I bet on it. I threw $13 on myself. And if things really change around here, and if I get my life in order, Big Ange could become the UFC heavyweight champion, get $1,000 back on that $13 bet. And listen, I'm 6'3", 260 pounds. I've wrestled my entire life. I've been grappling for 20 years. So it's not that crazy. There's heavyweights in this division that can't do any of those things. Let's go ahead and break down the rest of this card. And you can check out all the picks and the bets inside of the app. Yes, we have an app. The number one request last year was, I want an app. And now we have an app. It can do everything the website can do. You still have full access to the website from your phone or from a computer, but now you also have the ability to use an app. Same experience, but with push notifications. I can send you notifications to your phone directly. Angelo just placed a bet, and you can check it out on your phone. Download the app right now, 100% free. Just go to the iOS App Store, search We Want Picks, and before all the Android people start bitching and crying and doing whatever the hell you people do, we had an Android app. We had to pull it because there were some weird bugs. We're working on it. It'll come back. For now, iOS people, you're living large. But let's talk about the premium. What's the app without the picks and the bets? And here's a look at the last 6 pay-per-views. In general, we do really well. This is the first pay-per-view of 2025. UFC Vegas 101 was the first card of 2025. So what you're going to have is a lot of people who had a disastrous 2024, a miserable 2024. Using the break to just reinvent themselves, pretend that they didn't absolutely suck shit for an entire year. And then they come back in 2025 and be like, we're back. Let's get it, boys. But we can't forget how much they sucked. Not here. We had a spectacular 2024. And I want to ride that exact same success into 2020. I don't want to change a thing. I want the exact same success in 2025 that I had in 2024 because that's how well we did. Here's a look at the last 6 pay-per-views. Smoked. In general, pay-per-views are phenomenal, but you can only fit so much on a screen. 10.25 units over 6 pay-per-views, a 41% ROI. If you're new to sports betting, that is a humongous number. Pay-per-views tend to be our thing, and UFC 311 is going to be no different. You can unlock all the picks, the bets, the tools, and everything else right now, this instant, for only $10 an entire month. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. At the top, you unlock literally every single thing that we do. Here's a look at the last 15 fight cards. Yeah, we smoke pay-per-views, but in general, we smoke the majority of the cards. We've done really, really well. So I'm not going to use the 3-week break to pretend that last year didn't exist, because it did exist, and it was spectacular. You might be saying, Angelo, where's the UFC Vegas 101 results? Listen, guys, these videos normally get filmed on a Sunday morning, and then I edit it, and I upload it so that every Sunday you can have your eggs, your bacon, your coffee, and Big Ange breaking down fights. But this Sunday, I'm hungover in a bed right now because I attended UFC Vegas 101 live in Las Vegas. I watched the fights. We did all the things. I don't know what happens yet because I'm filming this Thursday night. I fly out tomorrow. So I have to film this Thursday night. So you get this video on Sunday morning. So I don't know the results of UFC Vegas 101. I can only hope for the best. If we did really well, then wow, the success train continues. If we didn't, wow, zoom out. Look at how well we've done over the last 15 fight cards. The long-term success is absolutely immaculate. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. Ride this ride with us. Become a premium member today. It's more than just picks and bets. You also get tools. One of those tools is the data analyzer. This will get a facelift. In a couple of weeks, you're going to see a graphic like this, but much better and much easier to use. The data analyzer is literally anything you could ever want or need. Every single statistic for every single fighter, tape study, a tape index, adjustable filters, literally everything while doing your own research. You're also going to have access to the line movement tracker. This will give you opening odds, current odds, win probability, and line movement for every single fighter on every single card. You're going to have access to the Prop Hunter, a curated slate of data specifically designed to help you find your prop bets. And you're also going to get more than just this beautiful face and that little cancerous red ginger I do the show with. You're also going to get Artem, some dude from New Zealand breaking down fights at crazy accuracy. And Bet Sam, who sent me this dumbass picture. I was like, hey, Bet Sam, who is now part of the team and providing his picks and bets, same premium price we always had. And I was like, send me a picture so I can put it. And he's like, that's what he sends. I would bet my life he's never thrown a punch in his entire life. But this is the picture he took, and this is the picture he sent me. What are you going to do? And apparently we have New Zealand on lock because they're both from there. And then we have an artificial intelligence, a ridiculous amount. This intro is already 7 minutes. Somebody's bitching about how long the intro is right now in a comment section. So I'm going to move on. Premium membership is the greatest, most feature-rich, most valuable service in this industry. It's freaking $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. Let's have some fun together. And here's the address if you want to send something. We film vlogs. Every pay-per-view gets a vlog. Every interesting thing we do gets a vlog. We got a bunch of vlogs coming up. I'm filming one right now for UFC Vegas 101. I'm filming a vlog for UFC 311. We always do a pay-per-view vlog. And then after that, we are going to a local show here in Frisco, Texas. We got a whole bunch of really cool stuff happening there. I've talked to the promoter. We're going to vlog that as well. If you want to send something for us to open on the vlog, We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. There's your intro, you whiny bitches. 8 minutes. There's chapters in the video. Anybody who comments, intros are too long, I can't watch these, you're an idiot. There's chapters. There's also a fast forward button. It quite literally takes you longer to type that out than it does to click a chapter or scroll. You have an extra chromosome. And with that jawline, so might Tagir Ulanbekov. We got Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Clayton Carpenter to open up the first pay-per-view of 2025. This is an interesting matchup with some pretty wide odds. Tagir Ulanbekov is a dominant come-forward wrestler. He's got decent striking. He's got a nice jab. Right behind that jab, though, is a takedown attempt. All 4 of his UFC wins were very grapple-heavy. 12 takedowns, 2 submissions. The only real complaint about Tagir is his takedown defense. If you pressure him forward, you can take him down. We saw that when Tim Elliott sort of exposed it a little bit. When he fights high-level wrestlers, he does not have that same success. He can still get takedowns, but he gets taken down. He's coming off that canceled fight against Josh Van, and that didn't happen because Tagir missed weight. He was clutching his stomach, and then they canceled that whole thing. He's taking on Clayton Carpenter, a young prospect. Yes, he's 28 years old, but he's sort of newer in the career. Only 8 fights under his belt. He is a slick grappler on his side. He'll take wild chances. He will hunt for submissions. He's a very fast-paced guy. He rushes forward, immediately sets the tone. He's also always hunting for a finish. Even though he's only 8-0 as a professional, he does have a good amount of competition experience before the professional MMA side. He's been competing since he was a teenager all over the world. He is coming off that submission win over Lucas Rocha, where the wrestling and the control were great, but it was clear his striking needs a little bit of work. This is a good matchup. This is a very real test for a young prospect in Clayton Carpenter. Tagir's a massive step up in competition. Tagir can be taken down, and that makes this a somewhat competitive fight. I'm surprised to see that these odds are this wide. I don't trust these odds. I think they're far too wide. I'm still going to give the nod to Tagir. I think there's just too much experience in there, and he is a very good wrestler. Obviously, I talked about how he can be taken down. But if Clayton comes in here with a little bit of hesitation, or if he doesn't set the wrestling tone almost immediately, then Tagir will. And he's got 17 fights worth of experience, literally double the experience that Clayton has. So Tagir is going to be the pick. Bet-wise, We're going to wait for some prop bets because Clayton Carpenter might be able to win a round. I don't see a finish here. Tagir's not that dangerous. And if Clayton Carpenter can get his wrestling going in one single round, well, then all of a sudden that plus 3.5 bet hit. I'll explain that in a separate video. I've explained it many times. You're essentially betting on the spread. You just need to win one round, effectively. Some idiot is always going to be like, well, the man, shut up. I'm speaking in generalities to make it nice and simple. I think Clayton Carpenter can absolutely win a single round. We'll wait for those prop bets. Tagir's going to be the pick, but do not bet on Tagir Ulanbekov at minus 300. Don't do it. He's a good fighter. He's got a ton of experience. Clayton Carpenter's only 8-0, and, when things get tough, he might fall apart. We don't know yet, but we don't know a lot. So don't bet on a minus 300 favorite. Not on this card, when there's plenty of other favorites that absolutely will get it done. Then we got Ricky Turcios taking on Benardo Sopaj. This is going to be an interesting breakdown. First of all, this fight was supposed to happen at UFC Vegas 100 a few months ago, but that was canceled because of Ricky. Bum. Ricky's actually a bit difficult, it seems, because this fight was canceled after he weighed in. And if you remember, he was supposed to fight Rosa Jr. Raul was the problem there, but Ricky refused to bend. Then they were going to do it the next week. He refused. I don't know if he actually is difficult, but it just seems like every time he fights, there's something. There's just always something. Hopefully this fight actually happens because it could be a ton of fun because Ricky Turcios is a ton of fun. He's a high-pressure guy. He's all in on everything. He throws anything from anywhere to anyone. It's like that movie. What is it? Everywhere, all the time, always, whatever the hell that movie is. That's Ricky Turcios. He's just doing their things all over the place. He'll grapple. He'll strike. He's very, very busy. He sets an incredible pace. He has landed more than 100 significant strikes in basically every single fight, and that includes one of his losses. He does not have much to offer outside, though, of the high volume and the high pace because takedown accuracy is not very good. Takedown defense is not very good, but he is busy and he is in your face, and that pressure and pace can break you. He's coming off that loss to Raul Rosas Jr., where I actually thought he looked pretty good early. And he's taking on Benardo Sopaj, a fast-paced, high-energy striker. He has power for his size. He's got incredible speed. He's constantly moving forward while staying light on his feet. When he sees openings, he will explode in the combinations. He also has good takedown defense and good takedown offense. We saw some of those solid takedowns in his last fight against Vinicius Oliveira. What we also saw in that fight was one of the worst knockouts you're going to see. And it sucks because Benardo Sopaj is a prospect, and that knockout, the one that he took, that wild flying jump knee, is the type of knockout that can permanently affect your career. It's been a while. 7 months ago. I wish it was a little longer, but it's been a while. Hopefully, he's on the recovery road and the brain's putting itself back together. Ricky's not necessarily a dangerous guy with the hands, so I don't expect a ton of chin checking here. Benardo Sopaj should be able to win this fight. Ricky's pace is going to be a problem, as it is for everybody, but I think Benardo can slow that pace, get a takedown, take advantage of the skill gap, because there absolutely is a skill gap here. Benardo Sopaj is going to be the pick, but he's a tremendous favorite. I first broke down this card a few weeks ago. We didn't have odds yet. I was hoping it would be somewhat close. Again, minus 400's nuts. We just watched this dude on the wrong end of one of the worst knockouts you will ever see. You cannot bet him at minus 400. You can't do it. Minus 150, it's a different conversation. Minus 400? He should win. I'm picking him to win. I'm very confident in him to win, but I'm conservative Ange. All those stats I ran through, look how good we're doing, 46% ROI. That's not an accident, especially not long term. Anybody can do well one weekend, but week in and week out, over the course of 15 cards, a 26% ROI, that is not easy to come by. And it's because I don't take wild chances. You're not going to see a 39 leg parlay. You know how many DMs, sorry for the rant. You know how many DMs I get a day? Hey, can you help me with this parlay? I literally respond the same. I don't tell people what to do with their money. I just tell you what I'm doing with my money. I don't tell you what to do other than where not to spend it. And then I get an IM with a screenshot. How do you think of this? Who should I add? It's 8 people deep. You don't add anybody. Take out 5 of them. Don't let me see Benardo Sopaj in a bunch of long tail parlays. Again, he should win, but odds matter. Minus 400's nuts. Now we have somebody that's worth their minus 400 price tag. You see how this works? You see how it works? Do you think Benardo Sopaj and Rinya Nakamura should have the same odds? Yes, Rinya has a better opponent than Benardo does, but Rinya is more established than Benardo is. Rinya Nakamura is a fantastic high-level wrestler. He has real wrestling credentials before he came over to MMA, traveling the world. And despite being a nasty wrestler and grappler, he has insane power and he lets it fly. His striking can be wild. Sometimes it's not the cleanest, but that's because he is such a good wrestler. He's not worried about being taken down. He's the real deal. He has 9 wins with 6 stoppages. This combination of high-level wrestling matched with genuine power can be an issue for a good amount of people in this division. He is coming off that very straightforward win over Carlos Vera. And now this is a step up. Muin Gafurov's no bum. He's a wrestler on his side as well. He'll plant his feet. He'll bomb away. He'll trade punch for punch with anybody. He's exciting to watch. He's a high-paced guy. He's got some good skills. He's got power in his hands. He's got solid wrestling, solid speed, solid cardio. Look how fast I did that. I could be one of the auctioneer guys. Point being, Muin Gafurov is good. And he is coming off a surprisingly tough slate for a UFC newcomer. He did just beat Kyung Ho Kang, but it was clear. Muin Gafurov's wrestling is not what we thought it was. Therefore, this is a straightforward pick. Rinya Nakamura should be able to win this fight. I see the power in his hands. The wrestling is clearly a massive advantage here, and that's all he's really going to need. If Kyung Ho Kang took down Muin Gafurov 3 times, Rinya Nakamura could do it 50. Rinya Nakamura is the very confident pick. He absolutely gets this done. And I think Rinya Nakamura at minus 400 makes a lot more sense than some of these other fighters on this card. Rinya Nakamura might, by the time you get to watching this, if you don't watch it when I first release it, if you don't look at the premium bets, he might close at like minus 6, minus 7. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but very confident in that. Rinya Nakamura. Then we have Karol Rosa taking on Ailin Perez. Another fight where I'm about to say some stuff about the odds, but not for the reasons you think. We got Karol Rosa, busy striker. She's landing almost 7 significant strikes per minute. She is willing to trade. She's a decision fighter, though. There's not a ton of finishing ability there. She has solid takedown offense and defense. She has 12 takedowns in 10 UFC fights. She has a solid 68% takedown defense. She does not have power, but she does have cardio and pressure. She's coming off that win over Pani Khanzad, where she destroyed her legs early and just flat out beat her up. She's taking on the controversial Ailin Perez. She just went viral for a leaked video. And I didn't see the video. Jacob did. Go ask him. I didn't see the video. I don't think it was for her OnlyFans. I think it was a straight up leaked video. Like, I don't think it was content. I think it was content. That was bad. That was a guy. All right. That was bad. My bad, guys. That one was, all right. Stupid. Perverted. Dumb. Ailin Perez, well-rounded fighter. We're talking about her fighting skills here. Well-rounded fighter. She has turned into a forward pressure wrestler, though. Mostly a grappler. She does have some striking, good long jabs. She'll use it to plot forward, walk you back. She'll use her size, her strength, bully you to the ground. She's got trips, drags. Cardio's a bit inconsistent. We've seen her just absolutely move forward, relentless pace and pressure, a million takedowns. We've also seen her get a little tired early, so you don't know what to rely on there. But once she does hit the ground, she is looking for submissions. She's got decent control, and we are seeing improvements. The Ailin Perez in this fight's better than the one in the last fight, which is better than the one in the last fight. She is coming off of that win over Daria, where she missed weight. It looked like a problem. She was shaking, coming off the scale. Everybody's talking about, oh my God, Ailin Perez. Then she smokes Daria, and on the microphone, she goes, yeah, that was fake. Yeah, I missed weight, obviously, but the rest of it was fake. So who knows? What I do know is I was shocked a few weeks ago, 3, I think, when I broke this card down the first time. And I saw that Karol Rosa was minus 162. So imagine my surprise when I saw today she's minus 185 and the line is continuing to widen. That is baffling to me. Of course, Karol Rosa is the better striker. But if she cannot defend takedowns, who gives a shit how good her striking is? The last time Karol fought a good wrestler was Sarah McMahon. Obviously, Sarah McMahon's an Olympian. We cannot compare her to Ailin Perez. But we haven't seen her fight anybody with the forward pressure of a wrestler in a very long time. And when we did see it, it didn't go well. I think Ailin Perez actually does win this fight. I love her as an underdog. I have a small little bet on her. Half a unit. I got her at plus 150. She is now plus 160. Even better odds. Frankly, I may double down, or if it gets so wide, I may do a 3.5 as a little bit of a cushion. So even if she loses a close decision, I'll get paid. I think Ailin Perez gets this done. I am surprised the odds aren't tightening. I expect people to look at it and do the same thing I did. Okay, Ailin's a good wrestler. Karol can get taken down. 1 + 1 = 2 sometimes. But maybe not. Maybe that viral video threw people off. She didn't throw anybody off. Then we got Grant Dawson taking on Diego Ferreira. I am a known Grant Dawson hater. I don't know the guy personally, and frankly, we should all be proud of what he's accomplished in this sport. He very publicly was getting teary-eyed after beating Mark Madsen, who's an Olympian, saying, I barely made the wrestling team in middle school, and here I am. I just beat an Olympian. And he out-wrestled an Olympian. So that is spectacular. Good for Grant Dawson. Very clear he works his ass off. Very clear he does what he needs to do to win fights. But as a fan, I have two things, right? I appreciate the fighters and what they do side. I also have this is entertainment. So I'm here to be entertained. Entertain me. He doesn't do that. I'll tell you that right now. Yes, he got a finish in his last fight, but he's top 5 most boring fighters on the roster. Top 5. Let's go ahead and break him down. He's a grappler. Hence the boring. And this is coming from a fellow grappler, so it's okay. It's friendly fire. He's getting almost 4 takedowns per fight. He's got a very good ground game, relentless pressure. He's just sniffing crotches the whole time. His striking is not very good, so that's why he's sniffing crotches the whole time. But he does have good takedowns. He does have good cardio. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. His job is to go in there and win fights, and that's what he does. He is 22-2, and he's got some really, really good wins. He finally got a finish. We finally saw him finish somebody, and it happened to be Rafa Garcia, who he split open very badly and got it done. And if you've only seen that fight, you're like, wow, Grant Dawson's exciting. Bullshit. Go watch his fight against Joe Selecki. It was a 15-minute fight. 14 and a half minutes of it was on the ground with Grant Dawson on top. You wouldn't know if you were watching a fight or just looking at a still image picture. You wouldn't know. It was horrible. But I don't think we're going to get that here because Diego Ferreira won't let that happen. Diego Ferreira is an absolute dog. He's a good BJJ guy. He's got power in his hands. Even though he is a grappler, he's got good striking. Takedown defense, not great. Takedown offense, almost worse. But his striking has evolved over the years. He's even winning striking-only matches. His takedown defense is at 60%. That is skewed, though. He's fought some very high-level wrestlers. He fought Beneil Dariush. He fought Gregor Gillespie. You may not know that name, but I promise you he's a great wrestler. He fought Mateusz Gamrot. And now he's coming off a dogfight with Mateusz Rebecki, where he was dropped, taken down 4 times, but stayed tough and never stopped. And for those reasons, I'm picking Grant Dawson to win, but I will be betting on Diego Ferreira. Grant Dawson should win this fight. He should be able to get the takedowns, have the relentless pressure, the control, dive at the crotch, let us know what it smells like. But Diego Ferreira will get up. He will scramble. He'll swing hard when he's on his feet. Diego Ferreira will try to make something happen. Even if you drop him, even if you take him down 4 times, he's never going to stop. I think Grant Dawson wins this fight. I think Diego Ferreira can make it competitive. And if there is going to be a finish, it is likely on the Diego Ferreira side. For that reason, I will bet inside the distance, decision, no action when that prop bet drops. Essentially what that means is if Diego Ferreira finishes Grant Dawson, knocks him out, submits him, catches him or something, I'll get paid. And if he doesn't finish him, win or lose, if he doesn't finish him, I'll get a refund. The only way you lose that bet is if Diego gets finished. And I think he's tough enough, and I don't think Grant Dawson's is dangerous enough for that to happen. Could be wrong. I literally was wrong that last time with the Rafa Garcia, but I think we're feeling good about that. We'll see when that drops. When it does, I'll let you know. And before I get 17 messages, 20 messages, a bunch of IMs and DMs saying, I can't find inside the distance decision, no action. Where is it? Well, that's what I call it because that's what BetOnline calls, and that's the book I use. Your book may call it finish only. So look for that. We'll wait for it to drop, and if you have the app, you'll get a push notification. Then we have Zach Reese taking on Sedriques Dumas. Zach Reese is a guy that people seem pretty high on, but there's been some highs and lows in the Zach Reese career. He's looked spectacular, then he's looked like an absolute bum, and now here we are. Everybody is positive that he's going to look spectacular here. He is a massive guy at 6'4" in this weight class. He uses that size, that strength in his fights. Very well-rounded, mostly a powerful striker. He will absolutely uncork, pretty tightly wound, then he lets his hands go. He can wrestle as well. A bit inconsistent, though, when he uses it. On the ground, very good BJJ from top and bottom. Sometimes too good on bottom, where that's what he's doing. That loss on the record, he was power-bombed. He threw up a triangle, I believe. Might have been an arm bar, I forget. But he was literally power-bombed and knocked out of it because he was too willing to play jiu-jitsu off his back instead of trying to get up and create a scramble. He is coming off that decision win over Jose Medina, where he landed with power and he went back to his wrestling roots. He's taking on Sedriques Dumas. Sedriques Dumas is famously a street fighter. He worked his way into the UFC. He has developed some very real skills. So despite being a street fighter, he's a very progressed fighter. I need to be careful with the words I'm choosing because I don't want to say very good fighter. He's not very good. But he is improving. To his credit, he's putting the time in and he's working. He went from fighting in the streets with no real technique to actual technique. You can see he's improving. You can see he's working. He is getting better. He literally looks at his corner and listens to what they say. The problem is he has to look at the corner and listen to what they say because he doesn't know what to do on the ground. He is definitely a better striker than a grappler. The takedowns are improving. And if you go watch his regional fights, he's picking people up and slamming them down. But once he gets to the ground is where he doesn't know what's going on. He literally will look at it. They'll be like, hips in, spread the base, step to the left. Like they literally have to walk him through everything. And that's going to be an issue here. Zach Reese, obviously we watched him get power bombed and we watched that be an issue. I don't know if that means he's chinny or not because he was on the ground and he got his head slammed. He wasn't up catching one in the chin. But Zach Reese should win here. Minus 260, honestly, feels like a discount. He's just the better fighter. Sedriques Dumas is not that good. He's scrappy, but he's not very good. Zach Reese was minus 180 a few weeks ago, minus 260 now, so obviously it's widening. I think it's going to continue to get wider. Just watch SC's last fight. He won the fight, and you still are like, God, this guy's not great. Zach Reese is going to be the pick. Sedriques Dumas, I mean, we'll see. He is one of these guys that's improving at a rapid pace. Maybe we'll see massive improvements. If this stays striking only, ST could win, but I just don't see that happening. Then we have one of my favorite fighters, somebody that I have picked and bet on basically in every single fight he's ever been in, Jailton Almeida, and he's taking on Sergey Spivak. This is grappler versus grappler. Jailton Almeida is an absolute savage. He hasn't looked like a human being yet, right? One time, he held on and legged a little too long, got hit in the side of the head 50 to 65 times. But even before that happened, he took the dude down 6 times or 18 times, 16 times. It was some massive number that's escaping me right now. Point being, Jailton Almeida is a grapple beast. He's not going to strike very long. And when he does strike, he basically just, it doesn't look great. And then he throws a big front teep kick and then boom, shoots a takedown. So it's not great, but it doesn't matter because he's taking everybody down. He has taken literally every single person down. Curtis Blades, supposed to be the best heavyweight wrestler in the division, made him look like he didn't know how to wrestle. Alexander Romanov, who was shockingly cut from the UFC, he's just coming off a win. I don't know why they cut him, but he's cut. Alexander Romanov, big Russian wrestler. Jailton Almeida took his ass down once, climbed his back, boom, good night. And that's who Jailton Almeida is. And he's taking on Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak, also a big wrestler. He's a heavyweight grappler. He's got good ground game, good ground and pound skills as well. He's got okay submissions. He is a capable striker as well. He doesn't have knockout power, but he does have a good jab, solid volume. His biggest issue is control, can be a little sloppy on the ground. The reason he's averaging about 5 takedowns per fight is because he can't keep you there. But he will get the takedowns. He'll continue to work. And for a heavyweight, his takedowns are very solid. He is coming off that first round submission win over Marcin Tybura. This is definitely kind of a juiced card, right? The favorites are the favorites. I haven't picked a ton of underdogs. I have picked 2 or 3, I believe. And the people that I'm confident in are expensive. Jailton Almeida seems to be one of the more affordable guys on this card. I absolutely think he wins this fight. I don't know what Sergey Spivak's going to do. He's not going to defend the takedowns. And I know it's multiple years ago, but him versus Alexei Olenek, who, if you don't know, is about 97 years old, was one of the sloppiest slug fights I've ever seen. And before you say slug, it's not Angelo. It's not slug fight. It's slugfest. You're an idiot. No. Slug fight's a word. I'm positive it's a word. You guys are trying to pretend that I invented it. I didn't invent it. It's a word. I've heard it my whole life. And this guy, Sergey Spivak versus Alexei Olenek, years ago was a slug. It was 2 slugs going at it, rolling around. And it's been years ago, so I'm not going to bring it up and say, oh, this guy sucks, because he has improved since then. But if he's even a glimpse of that, Jailton Almeida's going to run through him. I think Jailton Almeida gets the takedowns. He's the much better grappler. I don't know what Sergey's going to do here. He's not going to defend the takedowns. Nobody has. Nobody. Even Curtis Blades, the best wrestler in the division, was absolutely ragdolled. The only reason he won that fight is because Jailton Almeida had like some brain fart and just froze and just held onto a leg and literally ate about 30 shots to the side of the head. But before that, absolute ragdolling. Sergey Spivak, not going to be able to hang here. Minus 250 seems very affordable. I don't have this parlay, but if you want to parlay him and Zach Reese, that should be good money. Then we got Peyton Talbot taking on Hani Barcelos. Peyton Talbot's the guy. This is a guy everybody loves. You see I'm wearing this Young LA UFC hoodie. Young LA is a supporter of the show. They're a sponsor of ours. They send us stuff. We love Giordani. We love them. We support them. I wear their shit. It's freezing cold outside. That's why I'm wearing this. They also, I talked to them, and they're like, oh yeah, Peyton Talbot's a guy. He's a guy that we've been behind for a very long time. They have a knack for spotting talent. But it's not a secret, right? Peyton Talbot is good, and everybody knows he's good. He is only 9-0, and this is a massive test for him, but Peyton Talbot is a very real prospect. The UFC is looking to build him up. This matchup is designed for Peyton to win, and it is priced for Peyton to win. Minus 1,200, it has continued to explode. I think it opened at minus 5, and it's just bigger and wider, more ridiculous. He's a huge favorite in this fight, and I get it. He throws 1-2s at a great pace. He finds big shots, solid takedown defense. If he's taken down, he stays busy. He looks to work his way back up. He can be out-grappled. Obviously, he's undefeated, but you watch some regional wins. He has a 1 or 2 come-from-behind wins there after getting taken down over and over. But the reality is the improvements are lightning fast. He's insanely confident. He's an interesting guy. Peyton Talbot is going to be a big deal as long as he continues to get the wins. And this is kind of a test because he's taking on Hani Barcelos. He's aging. He's 37, if you could even trust that. He might be significantly older, but let's say he's 37. That's old for a bantamweight. He's very well-rounded. He can still get wins at this level. He literally just did against Christian Quinones. We saw flashes of a younger Hani. Striking-wise, good low kicks, good volume, great pace. Wrestling-wise, a 5-time Brazilian national wrestling champion. Is that an American national wrestling champion? No. But it's still a massive accomplishment. Hani Barcelos is very good. But Peyton's just that much better. I think Peyton wins this fight. We're going to see the age gap. We're going to see the speed gap. And we're going to see Peyton do what he does, probably knock out Hani, make something, spectacular happen, which I hate because I love Hani Barcelos. When he fought Timur Valiev, that was a great back-and-forth fight. And that was sort of peak Hani, because since then it's been a bit inconsistent. But Peyton Talbot has to be the pick. Anybody picking Hani Barcelos is just an asshole that's making ridiculous underdog picks so that if he gets one every 7 months can be like, I remember when I... Yeah, what about the 38 that you missed? You can't... Peyton Talbot should win this fight. Now, should you bet on him? No. These are fist fights. Minus 1,200 is far too gone. Do not bet on minus 1,200 favorites. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. What you should, though, is bet on Johnny Walker. If I know a guy who has a good chin and can win fights at this level, it is Johnny 6'6" Walker. All those parlays you've got, add Johnny Walker. And this is sarcasm. And if one of you dumb assholes sees Johnny Walker unconscious on the floor and then races to the comment section and say, you told me to banned and blocked because you are clearly too far deep in the chromosome pool to understand anything we do here. Johnny Walker's not winning this fight, but we're going to break it down anyway. He does have flashes of brilliance. This guy is 6'6" at light heavyweight. He is good. He's fast. He's athletic. He's dangerous offensively. He can submit you. He can knock you out. He does all sorts of really fun things. He's incredibly athletic. The problem is he's got no chin, and that's not his fault. Take it up with God. He can't help that. But Johnny Walker's good. He's crazy. The unorthodox stuff can be a problem for a lot of people, but he gets knocked out. And that's his biggest problem. He was just knocked out by Volkan Ozdemir. Volkan Ozdemir is very good, though, but still, he should not be getting knocked out as often as he is. Also, side note, I thought Johnny Walker was going to heavyweight. Didn't I see a whole bunch of shit about Johnny reinventing himself at heavyweight? What happened to that? Guess not. He's taking on Bogdan Guskov. Heavy-handed guy. He likes to come forward, mix things up, big-time power. When he's striking, he can be fast. And as I mentioned, he's got power. He keeps his hands low, but he's got good enough footwork, nice combinations. If he does not get an early KO or if he doesn't have enough success striking, he'll work you to the cage. He'll get a takedown. On top, he's patient. He's controlled. He'll ride you out. He will be striking, but not overly aggressive. He just knocked out Ryan Spann. If Bogdan cannot knock out Johnny Walker, they need to send him on his way. He's not what everybody thought he was going to be. What the hell is going on here? I thought Johnny was going to heavyweight. I guess he's not. I don't know what changed or why. Unfortunately, Johnny Walker has all the skills, all the physical attributes, the athletic ability, but no chin. And he's fighting a guy that can find the chin, has found the chin of much more dangerous strikers, and will find the chin again. Bogdan Guskov is the pick. He was minus 120. just a few weeks ago. He was plus 100 a few weeks before that. Now he's minus 165. If you want to go Bogdan Guskov inside the distance, maybe you'll get a discount. Maybe inside the distance, decision, no action. If there's some wild universe where he doesn't finish Johnny Walker, but gets himself a decision win, you'll get a refund there. But, you know, Johnny is dangerous, so we can't pretend it's a guarantee. There's no guarantees in this sport. We've seen it time and time again. But Bogdan Guskov should win. I mean, as much respect as I have for Johnny and his abilities, he has no chin. That's it. He's got no chin. Simple. But what you should have is $50 in your wallet, because all you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets. You use any one of the affiliate links. You sign up, you make a deposit. They're going to pay us. It's an affiliate link. And I slice off $50 and I give it to you. Inevitably, I'll get emails like, hey, I became a premium member. I didn't get my 50. And the response is, well, premium membership and the $50 promo are completely separate things. They have nothing to do with each other whatsoever. You could love us. You could hate us. You could be premium. You could not be premium. You can still get the $50. Just use the affiliate link at WeWantPicks.com/bets. And here's another look at the last 6 pay-per-views. I am going to brag about this. I am quite proud of what we've done here. It is not an accident. What it is tireless work, sitting here, doing the research, filming these videos, talking through it, building out the graphics. As tedious as all these incredible graphics may be, doing that work, seeing those numbers blind me in the face, helps me break down fights. And all of that work and effort and the no such thing as a day off and these videos every Sunday, literally no matter what, even during the break, all of that has culminated in very successful events. Here's a look at the last 6 pay-per-views. Are you going to get a plus 250 unit night from me? No. And anybody who's doing that bullshit either A, doesn't have real units, or B, they're $10 or $5 or $2. They're not normal sized. What you are going to get from me is consistent picks, consistent breakdowns, and consistent success. You're going to win every week? Of course not. Are we going to win far more weeks than we lose? Absolutely 100% yes. We've done that year in and year out. The last 6 pay-per-views. Look at the last 15 events. Look at all of 2024. Look at 2023. It's not an accident. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member. It's $10 a freaking month. And you can access everything from the app. All the picks, all the bets. This app was a massive investment, by the way. Apps are not free. This was a massive investment. It is paying off. Well over 2,000 of you. So we've got 4,600 premium members. 2,000 people have downloaded the app. The app is not, it's available for anybody in the App Store. You don't have to be premium to download the app. You should download the app, whether you're premium or not. You'll still get push notifications. It just won't tell you the exact bet, right? But bets are available, or here's some news, whatever it is. Either way, the app was a major investment. It is paying off. I want to thank the thousands of you who have downloaded it, because the time and effort that not me, but that Josh, the web guy, put into it, it's his baby and it's paying off. So thank all of you. Download the app, access everything we do. If you want to unlock premium, it's only $10. It's me giving you my picks and bets and breakdowns. It's the tools, the insight, the DraftKings ownership, the prize picks, the underdog, the FanDuel, Jacob, also Artem, and now BetSam. If you don't know who BetSam is and you watch some of these channels that, oh, here's the breakdown of who picked who and the accuracy, and here's my monotone voice. Well, BetSam's always at the top of that list, as is Artem, as is myself, as is Jacob. So now you have 4 people and a robot picking fights in insane accuracy, all under the same umbrella for the same freaking $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Here's the address if you want to send something. We are filming multiple vlogs in January. Very heavy for vlogs in January. We just filmed one for the holidays. I'm filming one for UFC Vegas 101 because I'm there. I'm filming one for UFC 311 because we film one for all the pay-per-views. And then we're filming one for a local show. Peak Fighting is coming to Frisco, Texas. And Jacob and I will be there, sitting, hanging out, meeting the people, watching the fights, doing a giveaway, doing all the things. If you want to send something for mail day, it's We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas, 75078. Opening up the UFC 311 main card, we had a little shufflerino. And this card may move again. The fight orders change pretty often. But we got Kevin Holland taking on Rinya de Rider to open up the card. I think it's a great card opener. I will start this by saying I love Kevin Holland. I'm a Kevin Holland fan. I think Kevin Holland is a far better fighter than his record will indicate. Some of that has to do with the fact that he can't defend takedowns, and some of that has to do with the fact that he doesn't always take it as serious as he could potentially. He's a funny guy. He's a fun-loving guy. He's a guy that goes out there and puts on a show, and we love him for that. I've also met his coach, literally just by dumb luck and happenstance, at the park. Heard him talking. I was like, hey. And then we had a little chat. Kevin Holland's a good fighter. He's an accurate, powerful striker. He has struggled with takedown defense in the past. And for a couple of years, that was a narrative. When Marvin Vettori was taking him down over and over, and all these other fighters were just taking him down over and over and over again, that was a straight-up narrative that people could stop talking about. And then they did stop talking about it. And that's because he stopped fighting wrestlers. And he was fighting strikers. And he started to have more and more success. He is coming off, however, that TKO loss to Roman Dolidze, where he broke a rib. I mean, Roman won that fight, and I bet on Roman, and I'm great. I cashed. But the reality is, I mean, he broke a rib. What are you going to do? A broken rib's a broken rib. But Kevin Holland's a problem for a lot of people. He's got great striking. He can make a lot of stuff happen. And he's fun. He's taking on Renier de Reder, former 2-division champion in ONE FC on the other side of the world. He's a solid grappler himself. He's got good takedowns, great submissions. He's very tall. He's 6'4", and he looks every bit of it with his frame and his build. On the ground, you will see that length. He's wrapping things up. He's chasing. He will strike as well. It's not very clean. He definitely thrives on the ground. Seems a bit out of sorts on the feet at times. He did lose both of his belts in ONE FC from striking. He could not get the takedowns and then couldn't hang on the feet. When he can get the takedowns, though, he's very, very slick. He is coming off that submission win over Gerald Meerschaert in his UFC debut. What I will say, I'm about to pick him because I still think there's gaps in Kevin Holland's takedown defense. I still think Kevin Holland can be taken down. And if he can, I think Renier can win this fight. Kevin Holland's a very good jiu-jitsu guy. So I don't think Renier is going to go crazy subbing him. I mean, he just submitted Gerald Meerschaert, who's also a high-level grappler. I think this could be a decision. Kevin Holland's durable. Kevin Holland's a well-versed grappler. But I think Renier can win this fight. My biggest concern here is in that Gerald Meerschaert fight, Renier was doing dumb shit. Like, dumb shit. He had very clear positions that were his. And instead of sticking with that position and methodically working to he's just rolling the wrong way and like chasing subs that aren't there and giving up positions. And ultimately it paid off. But if you're watching that fight, he's not necessarily a guy you can truly trust because he treats MMA fights like grappling matches. Who cares in a grappling match if you're giving up a position, whatever? Right? Maybe you give up an advantage or a point. But it's okay. You have time to work and get it back. And maybe you gave up that position to set up another position. MMA is a different world. You can get elbowed in the mouth, punched in the face. You give up a whole round. That is the one thing that worries me about Renier is his decision-making on the ground. He's a little too aggressive. But I do think he wins this fight. The odds are tightening. Last time I said I thought he was going to win this fight, he was a much bigger underdog. Now he's plus 115. He will not flip to a favorite. More money will come in on Kevin Holland. It'll actually probably rebound and widen. Kevin Holland's a very good fighter, probably one of the best fighters Renier's fought, and it wouldn't be the first time we've seen somebody from another promotion get absolutely smoked by a mid-tier, mid to lower high-tier UFC fighter. Speaking of mid to lower high-tier, we're about to find out a lot about these two. We are going to find out a lot about these two. We got Jiri Prochazka taking on Jamahal Hill. Two former world champions. Both of them lost their belts without losing their belts. Both of them suffered injuries, and that's why they lost their belts. Neither one of them actually got beat for the belt. They both have lost fights, obviously. Alex Pereira famously knocked them all out. But the reality is, Jiri Prochazka became the light heavyweight champion with a spectacular performance over Glover Teixeira. That was a spectacular performance. He absolutely worked that dude, start to finish. Except that's not what happened. Glover Teixeira beat the shit out of Jiri Prochazka. The entire fight. Just beat the shit out of him for 24 minutes and 30 seconds. And quite literally with 30 seconds left, Jiri Prochazka pulled it off. Literally. And good for him. Because what it shows is Jiri Prochazka is an animal. And we knew that all along. I mentioned former light heavyweight champion of the world. The guy is an animal. He never quits. He is always coming forward. No matter what happens to him, Jiri Prochazka is continuing to try to fight. Of course, if he's unconscious, that's a problem, but who was able to do that? Alex Pereira. He's been rocked. He's been wobbled. He's been down. But only one person has put him out. Jiri Prochazka is not very good. His technical skills aren't great. He doesn't have great wrestling. Doesn't have great jiu-jitsu. But he's got good power, a willingness to exchange, a Terminator-like forward pressure, and a guy that never quits on himself. He believes in himself more than anybody has believed in anything ever. And he's taken on Jamahal Hill. Similar to Jiri Prochazka, he won the belt, also beating Glover Teixeira. The difference, though, is Jamahal Hill beat Glover. Just beat him. Start to finish, beat him. Through and through. Was defending the takedowns, clean, fast, just straight up beat him. Now, Glover took that fight on short notice, I believe, right? Was it Glover that was supposed to fight Jiri and then Jiri dropped, so Jamahal stepped in? Or was it Jamahal versus Jiri and then Glover stepped in? I forget. But the matchup was short notice. And Jamahal looked good the entire time. Was defending the takedowns, the better, faster, cleaner striker. And Jamahal Hill is a good striker. He's got 73% takedown defense, which is important. A 7-3 striking differential. That's spectacular. And Jamahal Hill is a guy that people despise. They hate him. That's because he won't shut up. He's cringy. He's wildly unpopular. He went from a fan favorite coming off a spectacular performance over Glover Teixeira to a guy that lost to Alex Pereira. No shame in that. Basically, everybody in this division that's happening to. But instead of just accepting the loss, he's going on this multiple year tour of that was bullshit but the ref stopped it's a bad look. He talked a ton of shit. It was cringy. It wasn't clever. Then he got knocked out. Then he doubled and tripled down on the shit talk. And then there was the gym incident. Jamahal Hill's a cringy dude. But he is good. He's good. We've seen him be good. And when I first broke this down a few weeks ago, I said Jamahal Hill's going to win this fight. And at the time, he was the underdog. It is now flipped. Money has come in. More people looked at it and said Jamahal Hill should win this fight. Jiri's not very good. And they're right. Jiri is not very good. Not technically speaking. Obviously, he's a good fighter, meaning I would never want to fight Jiri Prochazka. If I had to fight either one of these guys, I would fight Jamahal Hill 10 out of 10 times. 10 out of 10 times. Jiri Prochazka is an animal. And that is why I have completely flipped my pick. I am sticking with the dog here. It's just the other side. We saw it in the Alexander Rakic fight. He got dropped. Somehow pulled it out. Came forward, won that fight by finish. We've seen it in other fights as well. He just did it to that long, tall goofball that a lot of people think beat John Jones. Jiri Prochazka is a guy that has no quit in him whatsoever. You have to put him out to do it. And while Jamahal Hill has knocked some people out, this level is very, very different. Jamahal Hill has also been talking about the fact that he's well over 240 pounds. Just last week, he said, I'm a big boy. Bro, you have to make 205 in a couple of weeks. What the fuck are you doing? He's soft. He's always been soft. And now you're fat. That's a problem. Then, if you go back and you look at when he lost to Alex Pereira and you look at his teammates, those are the people you're training with? That's your team? You see any training footage now? It's more the same. Looks like a they-them convention. These are not the ingredients for a recipe for success. I think Jiri Prochazka wins. I've completely 180 flipped here. And a lot of it honestly has to do with the fact that he's talking about how heavy he is and it's no big deal. I'm a big boy. The delusion with the Alex stuff. To have that kind of delusion, to get knocked out like that and still think you're the best in the world, while it is important to have confidence and to believe in yourself, it's also important to recognize where you need to improve and the work you need to put in. And somebody that has had multiple injuries. He was supposed to fight at UFC 303, injured, pulled out. He was supposed to defend his belt, blew his Achilles. So somebody who's had multiple injuries, long layoffs. He hasn't won a fight in a very long time, was just knocked out. To be 240 pounds, you're not living in the gym, you're not putting in that work, that's a problem. I'm going Jiri. Sorry for how long it took to break down that fight. Then we got Beneil Dariush taking on Renato Moicano. You guys are going to absolutely fucking hate my guts breaking down this fight. You know what's funny about that? Here's MMA culture for you. 2 years ago, if I was picking against Beneil Dariush, comment section comes for you. Oh, Beneil's the uncrowned king. Beneil's going to be the champ. Beneil. He was the fan favorite. The groundswell support for Beneil 2 years ago was next level. You couldn't say a single bad word about him. You people would come for the head. Renato Moicano has that right now. And he earned it. He's got some good wins, but now it's Renato Moicano. So now if I pick against him, all the hate I would have got for picking against Beneil is now coming for picking against Renato Moicano. And it's funny how that happens. It's funny how the Underground community, Underground's a website that's, if you're a true MMA fan, you know what the Underground is. It's been around for a million years. And that community, the diehards, the people who call each other casuals as an insult, it's funny how they just beeline to different fighters and unbelievable support. And I love that community. I'm part of that community. Go find my profile on SureDog and look at the year that was registered. Tell me I'm not a real one. I've been watching UFC since it was UFC.tv because they couldn't get the .com. They had to buy it from some guy. Point being, it's funny to watch the evolution of this sport and to see how people react to the rise and fall of their favorite fighters. I'm about to pick against Renato Moicano. I'm going to tell you why. Beneil Dariush is good. He's very good everywhere. He's got great power. He's got great control. He averages almost 2 takedowns per fight. He is a no-gi BJJ world champion. So you have a guy who has literal world champion credentials in grappling. You have a guy with some of the best takedown defense I have ever seen in my entire life. Forget the number you see there at 80%. Just go watch Beneil Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot. Watch those grappling exchanges. Those were some of the best grappling exchanges I've ever seen. It was spectacular. And he's also a powerful striker. Yeah, he looks like he's 68, but that's just that beautiful gray hair. He's 35. That's not young, but they are the same age. Renato Moicano is a guy, you're not going to love this, who was a bit of a journeyman. He was a guy that wasn't really getting the wins he should be getting. And then put it together. Developed a personality. And now he's marketable. He is getting the wins. And he's hilarious. Renato Moicano is hilarious. Like, the guy is absolutely hilarious. And he gets it. He understands what this sport is. Go out there, work your ass off, put on a show, win fights, be funny, and you can build something. And that's what he's doing. So there's no hate from me for Renato. I'm just looking at the fight, and I got to break it down. And I think in order for Renato to win this fight, he needs to take down Beneil Dariush, and I don't know if he can do it. Beneil Dariush, as I said, some of the best takedown defense you're ever going to see. And while Renato's on a little bit of a streak here, let's look at it. Let's look at his last 3 wins. He was going to lose to Drew Dober. That was a close fight. Drew Dober was winning, and then Drew Dober took himself down. Tried some lateral drop bullshit, landed on his back. Renato ended that round on top and snuck out the win. He was going to lose to Drew Dober. Then he literally lost to Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner had him 99% knocked out. But instead of coming back in and throwing one more strike, he backed away. Thought it was a walk-off. Renato stands up, recovers. Jalen had the adrenaline dump. Renato won that fight. And then in his last fight, he caught a kick, took down Benoit, and mauled him. And I'm not discrediting those wins because surviving what he survived against Jalen Turner's unbelievable. Shows you that he is not a pussy or a quitter. And then catching Benoit's kick and taking complete advantage of that, huge. Huge. Because Benoit's kind of a buzzsaw. So we do have a tough guy in Renato who won't quit with questionable durability. He's been knocked out before. Jalen almost did it. Against a world champion jiu-jitsu guy who has power in his hands. As long as Beneil Dariush is not checked out, which he might be checked out, as long as he's not checked out and hasn't, moved on to other parts of his life, and I know I said farts instead of parts, and somebody's going to comment it. As long as he hasn't done that, Beneil's going to be the pick. He said a couple questionable things recently that indicates, holy shit, is he retiring? Let's hope not. I'm going to pick Beneil. Big time underdog. Maybe I'm still riding the high of how spectacular that fight with Gamrot was, but Beneil Dariush is going to be the pick here. No disrespect to Renato. That guy's awesome. And then we have the co-main event. Merab Dvalishvili, the first of 2 title fights on this card. Merab defending his belt for the very first time. UFC's not doing him any favors whatsoever, but there's really nothing else they could do here. They could have either immediately done the Sean O'Malley rematch, which would have been favorable for Merab, but Sean didn't want it. Sean wanted to wait, need to recover, surgeries, whatever the hell else. So they couldn't do that fight. You can't just skip over the very clear number 1 contender when he just knocked off the only other guy you would talk about getting a title shot here. So bantamweight's kind of a tricky weight class where there's a lot of good fighters, but a lot of them have beaten each other, and not a lot of them are on long-term win streaks. So we got Merab versus Umar, and this is a tough task to defend your very first belt. Merab Dvalishvili, nonstop chain wrestler, as we know. His striking is okay. The cardio is insane. He will literally, for 25 minutes straight, move forward and shoot takedown after takedown after takedown. And you're going to say his takedown accuracy is only 36%. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He'll shoot a takedown, you'll stuff it. He'll shoot another one, you'll stuff it. He'll shoot another one, he'll get it. Merab Dvalishvili is insane nonstop pressure. Insane nonstop pressure. The hands are there. He's willing to strike. I'm going to say the chin is questionable. We've never seen him flatline, but Henry Cejudo dropped him a little bit. And he wasn't he didn't fall to his ass, but he was wobbled. Merab Dvalishvili is very good, high-pressure wrestler. Umar Nurmagomedov, you're going to see the last name. He actually has a little bit of a mustache, so we can't even say beard, no mustache. This mustache probably here we go, guys. I figured it out. The mustache gives him the striking. Because all the bearded Dagestanis with no mustache don't really have striking, right? They're phenomenal wrestlers, but they don't have striking. You grow this little, Indian kid in elementary school mustache like Umar has, striking. Boom, striking. Because Umar is a good striker. He's a phenomenal wrestler, as we know, but he's also a good striker. He just outstruck Corey Sandhagen. We've seen him knock people out. He's got phenomenal kicks. Umar Nurmagomedov is a very, very well-rounded fighter. That's why he's a favorite. I do think the odds are a little bit too wide. If you asked me a week ago, I was a little wishy-washy. I was like, oh, man, this is going to be a close, competitive fight. Merab's looked better than ever. The cardio is definitely something that you have to worry about. But after seeing some of the interactions with Khabib and Demetrius Johnson and how that camp was run, meaning Khabib's camp, and after watching the Sandhagen fight again and just seeing how good Umar is everywhere, I got to go Umar here. Even if Merab has some early success wrestling, I think Umar's scramble skills will be there. The striking will be there. Merab's never going to slow down with cardio, but he may slow down because he's eating leg shots. Because the kicks from Umar, the range he can keep, can keep him outside of the pocket, which is where Merab's going to be unless he's shooting from 2 miles away. So Umar is going to be the pick. I will kind of warn you here. Minus 325, I mean, it's a bit disrespectful to Merab. Because Merab is good. He earned that belt. I mean, his win streak is absolutely insane. Umar's the better wrestler. Umar's the better striker. Umar's going to have to be the pick. But if he's on his back foot the whole time because of the Merab pressure, could get interesting, but Umar's the pick. And then we have the main event of the evening. We have Islam Makhachev taking on Arman Tsarukyan in a rematch. And just yesterday, I saw a picture of Arman at American Top Team shirtless. Holy shit, is that guy jacked. Holy shit. It is the best shape he has ever looked, and he always looks like he's in good shape. It's nuts. Will that affect his cardio? I don't know. But the dude, nuts. And my hands are above the table, nothing weird going on. I can talk about the insane shape of professional fighters in without you. Pause. Grow up. Jesus. Anyway, this is a rematch from 2019. It was the first and only time Islam Makhachev was taken down. A 22-year-old Arman Tsarukyan made his UFC debut and took down Islam. That's quite the accomplishment. And the narrative, at least on the Arman side, is I was just a kid. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And now here we are. 4.5 years later. I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. Or 5.5. 2019, 2020, 1, 2, 3, 5.5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever the hell it is. 4.5 years. Arman Tsarukyan was a boy when they first fought. And he has improved since then. He's an incredible wrestler. He's managed to piece together a nice striking as well. He's athletic. He'll mix in the kicks fluidly. He'll exchange in the pocket. The takedowns are definitely there. They've always been there. And so is the submission defense. We saw that he got a little bit of trouble with Charles Oliveira, but it didn't matter. He ultimately made it happen. And he's taken on the pound-for-pound number one guy in the world right now, surpassed John Jones. Islam Makhachev is the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He's an insane wrestler, and his hands are very good. Wild improvements in the striking on the Islam side. The grappling is aggressive, as it always has been. He's looking to punish or finish on the ground. He doesn't just camp out. He doesn't just ride hips. He's always doing something. Islam takes you down. He keeps you down. Averaging only 3.1 takedowns in a fight is not a high number for somebody like Islam when you know how good of a wrestler he is, given the amount of 5-round fights that this man has had. Islam Makhachev is the real deal. He's a 4-1 favorite here, and I get it. It's a rematch. He very clearly won the first fight, and if I'm looking at a rematch, what I like to do is see what's changed since the first fight, if anything. And if I look at this fight, a couple things have changed. Arman is no longer in a UFC debut. Islam is no longer just a pure wrestler. So a few things have changed. So I'll scrap the first fight. And I'll just break it down as if they were fighting for the very first time ever. And if these guys are fighting for the first time ever, we have two very high-level wrestlers, both of whom are good strikers. So then we have to look at some other things. Cardio. Arman probably has a little bit better cardio than Islam, but even though Islam slows down, he doesn't quit, and he's never out. And then we got to look at size. Islam's huge. The dude is huge. He's massive. Look at his back. When he was fighting Dustin Poirier, those grappling exchanges, the back was nuts. And Dustin dragged him to hell and back, but that's what Dustin does with people. Islam Makhachev is a massive dude with very good takedowns, and even if he slows down a little bit towards the end of the fight, he'll probably be so far ahead in the scorecards it won't matter. We watched him go to hell and back with Dustin Poirier. We watched him go to hell and back with Alexander Volkanovski the first time. I think he wins here. I think he gets it done. I think the wrestling will be there. I think the striking is going to be better than Arman's. And Arman, bit chinny. We haven't seen him knocked out. And obviously, Islam actually has been knocked out. But Arman got dropped by a 40-year-old Joaquim Silva. This is going to be a good fight. This is a spectacular card. I am very much looking forward to it. I'm very glad you watched this video. And now I'm going to ask you to download the app and become a premium member. The app is available right now. Just search the App Store for We Want Picks. The app will give you everything you could ever want or need. The website has everything. The app has everything. And push notifications. Download the app 100% free. Love us, hate us, premium, not premium, doesn't matter. App is available for you. Just download it. Then become a premium member. Unlock tools. We talk so much about the bets and the success we've had betting, but do some of your own research. And a lot of you do your own research. That's why you're watching this damn video. So you can do your research with the greatest tool on the planet, a tool that gives you every single fighter, all of their details, the ability to click a button to watch their previous fights, to look at the scorecards from their previous fights, to analyze how many strikes they're landing in decision wins, for example. You can add filters. You can stack those filters. You can drill down. The greatest research tool ever invented in this space, and it is invented. We coded it from scratch. There's nothing like it out there. You're also going to get tools like the line movement tracker. Pretty rudimentary tool, but what it does give you is opening odds, current odds, win probability, and the line movement. So you very quickly see, is a line heading in your favor or against it? Do you want to wait or do you want to pull the trigger now before all the value is gone? You're also going to get a prop hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. As MMA becomes more and more legal to bet on in more and more states and countries, you're getting more and more prop options. You're getting significant strike options, takedown options, round lines. And the prop hunter is exactly designed for that, to help you find those spots. Hey, how many takedowns does this fighter average? How many takedowns does this fighter average in a loss? What about a decision? All of that data is right there to help you find your spots. Everything I mentioned, 40 other things I didn't mention, all the other people we've included, everything is under one single package for freaking $10. $10 an entire month. You're going to get a month's worth of UFC cards, $10. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. I genuinely appreciate every last one of you. And one small way we show our appreciation is if you use our affiliate links at WeWantPicks.com/bets. We don't just keep all the money. We slice off some of it and give it right back to you. So if you want $50, check that out. If you don't want to do anything, that's fine too. I appreciate the watch. Like, subscribe, do all the things. I thank every last one of you. You have changed my life, and I'm hoping to change yours.